Hello and welcome to another edition of Talking Tech. The topic of today's conversation is going to be the number one threat to your organization's cybersecurity:
phishing attacks.
We're also going to cover the most effective way to protect your organization from these attacks, and that is a well thought out and implemented security awareness training program to make sure your employees are educated and know what to look for so that they are not putting your organization in harm's way. So, what is the number one threat to your organization's cybersecurity? It's actually your own internal employee who is not properly educated on how to protect your organization from phishing attacks. Let's look at some statistics to put this in perspective. Why is phishing still the number one threat vector that's affecting your organization's cybersecurity? Well, 90% of all cybersecurity incidents that end up in a ransomware situation with companies' information being held hostage, 90% of those attacks had a spear phishing component to them, where companies' employees were targeted via email, clicked on a link, downloaded the malware, and ended up with the company being held ransom. What's an even more alarming statistic, in my opinion, and really goes to show why phishing is a huge threat to every organization, is that 50% of targeted phishing emails that make it through an email spam blocker and actually end up in the employee's inbox, 50% of those are opened, and 30% of those that are opened have a link within them clicked, meaning that malware is getting to 30% of the targeted employees. And that is a crazy statistic. So what is a phishing attack? A phishing attack is a socially engineered cybersecurity attack where cyber criminals will attempt to gain access to your data through your employees. Oftentimes this is trying to reach out to your employees via text message or most often email that includes a fraudulent link. And what that link is actually doing is installing a malware on that individual computer. And once that computer connects to the greater corporate network, the entire organization's systems are infected. The cyber criminals gain access to your company's sensitive data and often hold it ransom, hence the term ransomware that we are familiar with, where you cannot access any of your corporate data. It's all locked up, held by the cyber criminals until you're willing to either pay the ransom that they're requesting or find some other means like a backup to reinstall all of your data onto your network and regain access. So we've all been there. You're working hard through the day on a seemingly endless list of to-do items when all of a sudden that urgent email comes through from your CEO, or maybe your human resources department, benefits administrator, maybe your credit card company. So you just received an email, an urgent email from your CEO, or did you? Oftentimes when we are in a rush to answer these emails, the cyber criminals attack us in our most vulnerable state and from an individual that we might be more aware and ready to answer their email on a moment's notice. When you're not paying attention and you quickly are reading through your emails, click on a link, it can happen to even the most trained individual. The good news is that security awareness training is one of the most cost-effective and actually effective ways of securing your organization from these cyber attacks. An educated employee becomes an asset. An uneducated employee is actually a detractor and a liability to your company's cybersecurity. But how do you make sure that your security awareness training program is effective? Well, it's easy to start by showing what is not a well-executed security awareness training program. And unfortunately, it's what most organizations do today. A well-executed security awareness training program is not sitting the employee down on their first day with the company and having them go through an hour-long, maybe 30-minute training on phishing emails and different cybersecurity principles and where to connect to the network, how to connect to the network, and then kind of sending them on their way and allowing them to go about their career with the company without ever refreshing. And some companies take it a step further. Maybe once a quarter they'll send out reminder emails as to what to look for a phishing email, don't click on the links, that sort of thing. But really, the best security awareness training programs are going to have 3 common features. So the first feature that is going to make for an effective cybersecurity awareness training program is going to be actually simulating an attack. Employees are being hit with these phishing emails and different social engineering tactics day in and day out. So it's important to actually simulate what an attack would look like and keep track of who might be missing some of those key components of a phishing email that you need to look for. Maybe they're clicking on a link, and you need to keep track of who might be clicking on those links and putting your organization at risk. And the best training programs are actually going to take those individuals from that tracking piece and actually automatically enroll them in an online course, cybersecurity awareness training program, online certificate program. So the second feature that is going to make a security awareness training program effective is going to be the cadence. You want a semi-regular cadence to make sure that your employees are constantly being trained with new material that is going to make them aware of the latest threats when it comes to cybersecurity awareness. I like to do this on a monthly basis, if you do it on a quarterly basis, but it has to be with some regularity to make sure that this information is always being reinforced. The third factor that makes a security awareness training program effective is going to be to make sure that the material that's being covered in the training is constantly changing and evolving with the times. Cybersecurity criminals are coming up with new ways to attack our organizations every single day. So it's very important that we are staying up with the latest trends and making sure our employees are trained on the latest and greatest information and have that at their fingertips to make sure that they are keeping your organization secure and not making silly mistakes that could put your organization at risk. So today we talked about the number one threat to your organization's cybersecurity, which is still phishing attacks, and how these phishing attacks hold your organization ransom to the demands of the cyber criminals. We talked a little bit about what a phishing attack is and how prevalent, how scary prevalent today they still are in the world and affecting us every day. And we also talked about the main way to protect your organization from these attacks, which is an effective cybersecurity awareness training program. If you are looking to implement a security awareness training program or want to make tweaks to your existing program to make sure it's highly effective for protecting your organization, please don't hesitate to reach out. And until then, stay tuned for the next episode of Talking Tech.